Applesauce, bitch.
What's up, everybody? This is Choice.
This is Tom.
And this is the Applesauce Podcast. Welcome to another episode. Is this episode 3 or is it episode 4?
Cinco.
It's 5?
No, sorry. I thought that meant...
That is hilarious.
All right, so
this is how wars get started.
At least Tom will.
Oh man, that's funny.
What?
Okay, so we're here to talk about some stuff today.
Yeah.
We did it last week, right?
Yeah. We were actually on top of it this week.
Yeah, we're back to basics now.
We're back to doing the weekly. We skipped for 2 weeks, I think.
You were last time.
Busy, yeah. So.
Yeah. It's whatever. And I actually watched the movie this week. So
the first time.
I think it's the first time I've actually watched. But the other ones I was really familiar with.
I was really familiar with this film though, but I watched it again.
Yeah.
It'd been a long time. It'd probably been like 4 or 5 years since I watched it. So watched it again.
Yeah. Well, let's start with the I guess the topic list is let's start with the Hawaii thing, the Cold War era nuclear war warning sirens.
Yeah, I think it was Friday morning. They were testing the sirens for nuclear bombs. And that's the first time they've done it since the Cold War. So I thought that was kind of...
Yeah, they had North Korea had launched a missile that landed pretty close to Japan, from what the last I heard about that. And I think that was like a couple weeks ago, or a week ago.
Yeah, Rocket Man keeps firing stuff. I haven't been...
Rocket Man.
I just love that Trump called him that. I'm going to call him that from now on.
Oh man, they have to do like a video of him and Elton John with that Elton John song playing over it. Have they done that already?
I'm sure
somebody has to have made that already.
Yeah,
because it would just be perfect. But it's the same thing as like what was the movie that Seth Rogen and James Franco made?
Oh,
The Interview, right?
Yeah, The Interview.
Yeah,
is that movie?
Yeah, I saw it.
I liked that movie a lot. I thought James Franco as the metrosexual, I think, is hilarious. He was so funny as playing that role.
There was something like who was the guy that came on and like took his hair off, like like he would have people come on and confess stuff, and like the guy was like bald. Actually, it was like somebody like John Stamos or something like that. I can't remember.
Oh really?
You don't remember that part? It was like kind of shocking how like he took his hair off.
Was that part of like the show they were working on it before they went there?
It's in the beginning, yeah. It's in the very beginning, like when he's doing the interviews and Eminem comes out as gay.
Yeah, okay, I remember that. There's a big rapper celebrity there, and I couldn't remember who it was.
Yeah.
I love how he blows by it too. He's like, yeah, because I'm gay. And he just keeps talking like, wait, can we go back to that, please?
I forget who takes his hair off. It was a pretty funny moment in the movie though. So yeah, nuclear sirens. I mean, I don't really, that's.
I remember like my teachers in the past saying, talking about like them doing the tests in school, and like
I thought that was like bullshit to begin with. Like all that stuff was bullshit.
Like that they didn't do it, that they were lying?
Well, that it kept kids like calm, I guess, in the event that there was going to be a nuclear bomb drop. Like you couldn't hide under a desk, and
no, it's absolutely.
It's just like completely nonsense. It's complete nonsense.
Yeah, I wonder if like someone got to like the 5th grade and they're like, "What the fuck?"
This is like the Indiana Jones movies. All I got to do is hide in this refrigerator. I'll be fine.
Yeah, I can survive an atom bomb in a lead for a refrigerator.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, that
was. Did you like that movie, The Crystal Skulls? I liked it. I don't think it was that bad.
I didn't think it was as bad as people made it out to be. I think it was made in a time period where I think filmmaking hadn't adjusted to 1080p.
Yeah.
Into high def, and so a lot of the sets had no depth to them. Spider-Man was another film that was like playing on when I worked for Costco, was playing on the TVs all the time, and you could tell like it felt like you were watching a play. Like it's like, okay, we have this one little tiny set for them to talk in, and because in the past they assumed you wouldn't be able to see behind them that far, and it would add depth to it because it wouldn't be that clear. And then all of a sudden they're still filming in that way, and you can see everything, and it's like the set seems extremely small, and so I feel that like that contributed to some of that. And then people didn't like that it was like George Lucas really wanted it to be aliens. Did you hear that part?
No, he wanted it to tie into aliens.
So that was a compromise between George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, was that George Lucas wanted them to be aliens, not creatures from another dimension, and to kind of tie into the whole ancient astronaut theory, I think, at the time.
I thought that's what happened at the end, though, right?
No, they're beings from another dimension. They're not aliens, and so that was like the compromise between the two of them. Instead of it being aliens, they were beings from another dimension.
I don't remember that part of them. I thought they were aliens. I mean, as far as I knew, they were aliens until you just said that.
No, because they don't actually fly off into space. They just disappear into their dimension.
I thought that whole thing becomes like a flying saucer.
It does, but if you read, that was the compromise. Like a lot of people just immediately assume they're aliens because they looked like aliens, and it's the way George Lucas wrote it was aliens. And at the end, like what's his name didn't want to do aliens, and they didn't want to do anything like that, and so they're beings from a different dimension. They're not aliens, actually.
Well, if everybody thinks they're aliens, then they're aliens.
I think that was George Lucas's point.
I think they're aliens. I'm pretty sure everybody that saw that movie thinks they're aliens. If you ask everybody that question, like at the end of Crystal Skulls, like what happens? Anybody who's seen that movie is like, oh yeah, the aliens come back and take the skull back with them.
Because I bet it, like originally, like the ship just disappears and then everything falls. But I bet that originally it was supposed to like fly away.
Yeah, it's
like speed away or something like that. It probably wasn't supposed to just disappear, and that was like their way around it, or some.
It looked like they just took off into deep space or something like that from where they were.
Do you know it was originally what's his name? Shiloh. I can't pronounce his name.
It was a girl, right? Natalie Portman. Is that where you're going with it?
Yeah, it was originally a daughter, not a son, and it was originally going to be played by Natalie Portman.
Yeah, I heard that.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
That would have been awesome. I think that would have been a much better film. I think him and like the two of them, like they were just trying to make a copycat of him, and I think that's where a lot of it broke down. And had it been a daughter, I think you would have got a lot of the back and forth he has with the girl that he, what's her name?
His wife, kind of in the
his wife in the film, who's married, ex-wife. I think they're not married right now, but I think you would have got a lot of that banter back and forth then, and he wouldn't have had the whole like you have to go to school and like men are different with their sons than they are with their daughters, and so I think it would have been a much better dynamic. And plus, Natalie Portman's a great actress, and Shia LaBeouf sucks.
It could have went either way.
I think she's a very great.
You think she would have made the movie better?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think you would have had a much better dynamic, because I think what all you're doing is now everybody on screen was just comparing the relationship between Sean Connery and what's his name, Harrison Ford in The Last Crusade, and it's like, well, we kind of just got a crappy version of that with those two, and to give it a different dynamic and to give it like a little extra more humor and things that I think adding it as a daughter instead of a son would have left the Sean Connery Harrison Ford, what do you call it, relationship alone, and we wouldn't have this comparison between those two relationships, so I felt they tried to make him so much different than his father just to get that relationship, when if they had just popped in a girl that was a lot like him, you would have still got that same thing, because it would have been the father-daughter dynamic and him not understanding women that well, and like the intricacies of being with them day to day, not just banging them and leave, like Indiana Jones usually does. But I think you would have gotten a completely different film from that.
Interesting. Well,
so we went way too deep into that movie.
Yeah, I know. That's no problem. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Airbus thing. You put in here.
Cool. I threw that up there earlier this week. It stumbled upon like the Bing, what do you call it, newsreel, and
a hybrid plane.
Yeah. So
So they're developing a hybrid plane that like turns into a car or something like that? Or is the hybrid part of it?
Hybrid, like electric.
Oh, so it's flying on electric. That's interesting.
Yeah, so you would have like, I don't know how I don't think they said like how they would do it. Like if it was like gas to take off and then electric to fly, and like vice versa or something like that. But if you look at the picture, like the engine, there's 4 engines and one's a little different than the other.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that like one engine is electricity and the other engine's gas.
That thing still has to go 700 miles an hour, right? To be competitive.
What?
Those airline planes go about 700 miles an hour, right?
No, that's the top speed. That's not actually what they fly at. They fly at closer to 550 to 6, actually.
That's still a lot of miles per hour.
That is, but do you know why they do that? Because they can do 700 consistently.
Yeah. Well, fuel, right? Is the main reason you would think.
Well, fuel consumption. Like there's a point at which like you pass a certain speed and the fuel consumption goes up exponentially to just gain a little bit extra speed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's this like little sweet spot that they all try to sit in the whole time because you're using the least amount of fuel to get the most amount of speed.
And then when they say they pick up speed to make up for time, they're burning gas faster is what they're doing.
Yeah, they're just burning gas.
So that makes sense. I mean, that joke is like, what if they? It's like we're speeding up to make up for time. It's like, why don't you just go that fast all the time? Problem solved, or puzzle solved.
We could slash off a half hour after every trip. Why don't we just do that?
Yeah.
But it says it would reduce CO2 emissions by 60%.
Yeah, so I'm saying, like they said, like every time you travel, it's like, what is it? It's like, I don't know. I forget the statistic I'm thinking of. It's something to do with like SUVs or something like that. It's like you're driving an SUV, like everybody's driving an SUV or something at the same time, or I don't know. I forget the statistic.
I think this will make the commuter jet a lot more plausible.
But I wonder if it's like the same, where it's like it can't do like international flights. It can only do like quick hops from like like quick runs like West Palm to Atlanta or something like that.
Even like West Palm to Orlando would be a drastic improvement. Yeah. I mean, if you could easily jump on a flight and get there from PBI to even so there's an executive airport, which is actually ORL. So the international airport is MCO in Orlando, and that's south of the city, about 10, 15 minutes with traffic and stuff like that. But that's the big international airport. That's the airport everyone comes in. This little executive airport, which is actually ORL. And I think these types of planes would make those executive airports a lot more accessible to the average person. Like right now, it's just, little private jets. Sometimes you see some larger private jets and stuff in there. But I think with like this hybrid technology, getting like 12 people on a plane from, Orlando to West Palm, or Orlando, to Miami, Orlando to Tallahassee or something like that, is going to be a lot better and a lot more reliable than it has in the past. Whereas you needed to get a giant group of people in order to make the costs or the fuel costs plausible.
I want this damn Hyperloop. I don't want a hybrid plane. I want the Hyperloop.
I have no interest in Hyperloop whatsoever.
You said what?
I have no interest in Hyperloop whatsoever.
I don't know why. You don't have to go up in the middle of the air.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just that like speeding through a
tunnel.
That tube, like one piece of dirt, and like you're just obliterated. Like at least in an airplane, like an engine dies. Well, we can glide. That's what it is. It's a glider.
Oh yeah, we can glide. Glide to our deaths.
They can land.
I know.
So I mean, there's a lot of things can go wrong in the air, and you can still survive it. Whereas like that Hyperloop thing, and then you're stuck there.
Yeah.
In the little tube for hours on end until somebody can get you in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I guess it's a good segue into the Elon Musk of suicide. You like that? You like that? Oh man, this is this guy Nitsky, I think is his name. They just legalized euthanasia in Australia, I believe, right?
I think it was Australia.
Yeah, the Elon Musk of assisted suicide, and his latest death machine, the Sarko, is his Tesla.
way to write a headline to grab people. Like,
That
had
is
you
like
just saw this, like no one would have paid attention. But you throw Elon Musk's name into it, and you're like, oh, I'll read that.
the thing. No, the thing that got me is it reminded me a lot of Futurama. I don't know if you ever watched Futurama, but in the show, like in the first like couple episode or two, they have assisted suicide booths. So like you would go into the booth and like you'd pick how you wanted to die, and like all this stuff would come out, like blades and like pinchers and stuff like that. So it's kind of weird, like fiction meeting reality. That's why
but blades and like the horrible ways to dies was like an option.
Yeah, like like you put like a quarter, like 50 cents in it, and it would like you'd be able to kill yourself with it. It was a cartoon comedy show, so it was like a joke, it's funny. This is actually real life.
Did you see a picture of the pod down there, like
of the what? Of
the pod, like
yeah, and it's like, what is it supposed to fill with, like nitrogen or something like that, or like?
Yeah, that's what it said. It was like it fills with nitrogen so that you continue breathing, but you don't realize that you're not breathing any oxygen, and you basically just kind of fall asleep.
Oh wow. That's
kind of like decompression in an aircraft.
Yeah,
that's what they said at the bottom, at the very end, or how they describe the death. He's like, it's going to be mostly painless, but maybe he's like essentially painless. Like I think you would feel like a little bit discomfort, like headache.
Oh, so yeah. There's no asphyxiation, and the user breathes easily. He said.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that sounds pretty awesome, right? Shouldn't everybody like die like that?
I guess. What do you think of the assisted suicide thing?
Is it all right or is it wrong? It's like one of those gray area things. If somebody's like in a bunch of pain and stuff like that, I know like there's like people that get to a certain point where they just don't want to live anymore. It's like it's more painful to live. So they're pretty much on morphine or some sort of like, painkiller until they go. I mean, that's usually how a good amount of older people die now.
Yeah, but you're talking about like chronic disease or like chronic, like we have a problem, we really can't fix it, and it's
but like somebody that just wants to die. I don't know, man. I think they'll probably find a way to do it. I don't want to go on record as being for or against assisted suicide. It's just like I don't want anybody to kill themselves. Like that's just kind of just a natural human instinct is you don't want somebody to want to kill themselves. I'd rather try to fix the problem, like see if we can get them in brighter spirits or something like that. If it's just like depression or something like that, I don't know. It's just a weird. I don't know. I don't know where I stand on assisted suicide. How about you? I mean, do you have anything? I
mean, for the person who's going through like a chronic problem, yeah, I'm totally for it. But I really don't want to make it easy for just the person who had like a shitty month or something like that. To just go into a doctor, like I feel like you need to like it's like what is that, like getting the lap band, like the lap band's like not don't just go and get a lap band surgery. You have to go on like some sort of diet, and like you have to like exercise and lose a certain amount of weight before they even consider you. Like if you go out of the country, you can though.
Right, yeah. I mean, you can probably go kill yourself outside of the country too. I mean, people can fly to Australia now and kill themselves.
I mean, you can kill yourself in this country. You just gotta get a gun and kill yourself.
But you don't die falling asleep.
What do you mean?
It's like this guy's pod, the death pod. The Sarco. What is it called? The Sarco?
You don't die falling asleep? What do you mean?
With a gunshot to the face, you don't die falling asleep. That's not.
Oh yeah, that's it. Like that's very. I mean, it's over in an instant, though. I mean, it's not like you're gonna feel it.
But some people like don't. This is a very dark conversation, but people don't. They don't always get. It's like in a Fight Club, where he like goes to shoot himself in the mouth, and like he doesn't actually die. He like shoots his cheek or something like that. So I mean, like that could happen. That happens occasionally, where like somebody might shoot themselves in the head, but not like kill themselves. This is so fucked up. Why are we talking about this?
I forget what the movie is, but the opening scene is him like looking at a gun, and he has bullets, and he's going to kill himself. Like they make it obvious that like he's contemplating offing himself.
Yeah.
And so it's a revolver, and he loads one bullet in, and he goes, He loads another bullet in. He goes, yeah, 2 should be enough. And he closes it. And I find it like the funniest thing that he thinks he's gonna miss. He's killing himself, so he loads more than 1 bullet into the gun.
Oh, you might pussy out. You never know.
Yeah, but you're not gonna need 2 bullets though. If you.
But I'm saying, like, if you just like go to pull the trigger and then pull it away from your mouth or something like that. I don't know.
I guess I just thought it was funny. Like he thought he would fuck it up.
Right? Yeah. It's like obvious. Like if you do it right, you only need 1 bullet.
Right, you only need 1 bullet, but he assumes that he's gonna fuck up like killing himself. So I don't know what movie it is, but it's Robin Williams who's doing it.
Oh man, that's ironic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
On this topic though, there was a band. So I know this is a really dark topic, but
this is really fucked up.
I stumbled upon this documentary the other day, and it's a banned documentary, and the reason it's banned is because the creators who created the documentary did it under false pretenses, and so they could never really like release it like legitimately. So it's just up on YouTube, and there's like a few other like places you can probably just bootleg it and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But they can never like really make any money off of it because there was no place that would actually distribute it. Like they got a license to film this Golden Gate Bridge on the basis of a, what do you call it?
Suicide prevention?
No, it was on the basis of a nature filming. But what they
oh yeah, okay, I think I know where you're going.
Jumping off the bridge, and they had filmed for like a year, and then they went back and talked to the families of the people that jumped and investigated them and why they did it and how many people jump a year, and it was a really interesting documentary.
Yeah. They have this place in Japan. I don't know if it's Mount Fuji. It's some place where people like go to kill themselves.
And they just accept it there. Right.
I mean, they just go, like, people say, like, you know, they, like, there's some sign, I can't remember. I can't even remember I saw it. I think I heard it on, like, a podcast or something like that. Suicide Mountain in Japan. It's great. Like, yeah, you'll just they'll be walking and you'll see, like, clothes and stuff like that. And it's just, like, it's called they call it the Suicide Forest.
I think I've seen something of that too, like on like a little article or something.
And people will leave notes like on the trees and stuff like that.
Wait, man, notes?
Let's move on. This is getting really.
You don't like this topic, do you?
Depressing the fuck out of me right now.
But that documentary was really interesting.
Yeah, I heard. I didn't realize like a lot of people. Didn't they put like a safety net on the Golden Gate Bridge?
No.
Have they not done that?
Well, at least not within that documentary, but I mean, you can get right over the edge. So if you jump out, I mean, it would have to be a really wide net in order to get people, and that'd be a really big, and then you'd have to maintain it. And so, I think they just, there's X amount of like 20 or 30 people or something like that jump off of it every year. And I think they just deal with the concept of it. There's a few on there, like you can see they talk to like somebody gets talked down from jumping, and you can see it from their angle, like they like zoom into them doing it, and you see this just a random person's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" You know, and they get and then they go talk to both of them. You know, they find out who they are and talk.
This is crazy.
But I find like just how they talk, but they did it under a lot of different pretenses, and that's why. So I think the only way they could ever got the documentary made was doing it that way, but they still, did it in a bad way.
I guess San Francisco doesn't want to be known as the suicide capital. I wonder what the suicide capital of America is.
Well, they didn't want the Golden Gate Bridge known as that. That's
everybody knows it. I guess it's like a known unknown thing.
Yeah, but I think it's not something like they really want like
to be known for. Yeah,
I'm actually looking that up. We got what we thought might be a suicide. Someone through our help desk at work one time.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
like recently.
No, this was a few years ago when I was actually working the help desk, and we got this voicemail from somebody in California at like 3:00 in the morning, and it was like, I don't know if I can do this, and I think our number is similar to like another number out there, like another 1-800 number.
Oh yeah, that's what I think I remember this story.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I think I've heard you tell it before.
Oh, that I've told you before?
Like the number was similar to a suicide hotline.
I think it's a similar suicide, or I think like a what do you call it, hotline, like help with alcohol hotline. So we ended up like sending the voicemail to the HR out there to see if they could find like the number that was similar and at least get the voicemail to that group that runs that hotline. You know? So maybe we should move on.
Okay. I mean, were you looking for something? You said you were looking for something.
No, I was just gonna. It's just like of America. I was just kind of curious once you brought that up.
Well, let's talk about something brighter. Let's talk about Mike Flynn getting pleading guilty to lying to the FBI.
Las Vegas is the capital of America.
Where? Boston?
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Out of Las Vegas.
I could see that. I could see Las Vegas being the suicide capital.
Yeah, that's why
that makes sense. Like everybody like goes there, you gamble, your family's life savings away. You don't go back home. You kill yourself.
Wow. You thought I was dark. Jesus.
That is the proper thing to do.
You don't go home. You just leave your wife and family without.
You shouldn't have made me watch that movie Traffic. I watched that like literally before we started this. That was like one of the saddest fucking movies I've ever seen in my life.
It's not that sad.
It's pretty sad. But we'll talk about it later.
All right, we'll talk about it later.
But
so
it put me in a weird mood. So anyways,
let's move on.
Yeah, let's talk about Flynn. Let's talk about Mr. Michael Flynn, Senior. Pled guilty on what was it, Monday?
Yep.
To that's gonna be a video.
Lying to the FBI.
To lying to the FBI, and this was about the talking about the sanctions with Sergei Kislyak. Is it?
Yeah. They're call it ambassador.
Which is funny. The funny thing is though that what he did wasn't illegal at all.
No, he didn't. For the national security advisor and the ambassador to Russia, it's not odd for them to speak.
But he violated the Logan Act, is what he did in that meeting, which is like some old archaic law that nobody's ever been prosecuted under. But him, I guess, lying about it was the thing that led to the downfall and the arrest, and which is funny. I mean, why the hell would he lie about it?
I don't understand why he lie about it either. I think it's one of those like snap decision things. Like,
but I don't even know. Like, why would you carry that out? Like, it's like that you're lying to the FBI. I think a lot of people saying it's leading to something more like kind of ominous within the actual inner circle of Trump. Because he said that he was ordered by a high-level official to discuss this stuff with the Russian ambassador, or Sergei Kislyak. I can't remember what his title is.
So it's wasn't it like they're thinking it's Kushner or
like the high-level official he put in his statement is I don't want to say rumored. I guess strongly believed to be Jared Kushner.
He seems stupid enough to do that.
But where did Kushner get that order from?
Probably Kushner. I mean,
you think Kushner acted alone in this? He's only like a 36-year-old guy.
Yeah, like I could see him not knowing that that he shouldn't do this. Like, this has happened a lot within the Trump administration, where it's like, a more seasoned political operatives would know, like, no, this is a bad idea, and his family being like, let's explore every option.
Let's see if we can get some money out of those Russian banks before we get out.
They might have some shit on Hillary Clinton. Sure, ask them about it. Like, I could see them doing that, thinking that that's how politics. Because I mean, they think politics is that dirty, and so I could see them thinking. I don't
even think it's that dirty. Like I said, like it's all gonna lead back to money. Like it all feels like it's all gonna lead back to like funding. I know he has like Jared Kushner has like some really bad real estate deal up in New York somewhere. They bought a building, and it's like they don't have the funding for it.
What kind of funding though do you think is out there that you think like money went into the actual campaign?
I think they were. I know Trump wants to build like a Trump Tower in Russia, or like some kind of Trump hotel in Russia, and he needs Putin's kind of sign off to do that, or his buy-in at least. So
Putin colluded with him to get him president so that he could sign off on a building.
That, and then they could get rid of the sanctions on Russia. Quid pro quo, Clarice.
I just don't think
Say what?
like most of his buildings he doesn't even own. So it's like, do you really think a building was worth that? Like,
I don't know. I thought you're gonna have to ask Mr. Trump that.
I just don't see him being able to move that many parts for a building.
I think I mean Putin is kind of like a what do they call it? Like he's kind of just running the show. I mean, anything he wants, he gets. I can't see anybody saying no to him. So if he can give, maybe Trump was such, a small fry. He's like, if I give this guy this hotel, he'll get rid of the sanctions from me. And the sanctions are big for Russia. I mean, it's hurting their economy really bad.
Yeah, but I just don't see that like Trump is getting a good deal out of that.
Exactly. I mean, when has he made a good deal?
Yeah,
you're assuming Trump is a smart guy.
No, I'm assuming that like he wouldn't really do that much to get one building. Like if it was a larger thing, then I could get
that and maybe funding. That's what I'm saying. Like I think he was using he got a lot of funding from Russia. After he all those bankruptcies, it was harder and harder for him to get funding for projects.
Nah,
and their money wasn't as tied up as other banks.
Yeah, but if they invested in the United States, that would be known, though. I mean,
they didn't know until they caught Mr. Manafort.
Yeah, but Mr. Manafort was doing. Why did we call him Mr. Manafort?
Because I just thought it was funny. It's funny that you repeated it.
Mr. Manafort.
We were speaking like old English.
We're being super proper.
The gentleman, Mr. Manafort.
The gentleman known as Manafort. Yeah, but he was just lying for his taxes, though, purposes.
Yeah, and he was probably caught up in some kind of money laundering scheme.
Well, yeah, because he was trying to get out of taxes. I mean, that's how you get out of taxes.
I already murdered people too.
Did he murder
like overseas? Not himself, but he had people whacked over in Ukraine or something like that.
So did Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. I mean, everybody knows this. Everybody knows this.
I find that hard to believe that he had people whacked over there. That
I could completely believe that.
That he's his organization, he's big enough.
Oh, not Trump. I'm talking about Manafort.
No, yeah, I'm talking about Manafort.
Yeah.
That he's that big of a guy over there is why don't you go take that out?
It's not about guy, but it's about money. He had freaking millions and millions of dollars. Oh, did you hear that he got bail though?
Manafort did?
Yeah.
Wow.
He had to give up I guess put not his passport. Well, no, he can travel within the country. He had to what is it? His houses, his properties are forfeited if he tries to flee. So
really?
There are several property, I think it was $10 million worth of property or $12 million worth of property that if he does flee and they can't, he does leave the country, they get that.
If he had the big the organizer, if he had what you're saying he has, then I see him fleeing immediately. It's you have $10 million, but if you have a whole bunch of money overseas, right, yeah. if he's that big of a guy, he has at least that much or more overseas, and losing $10 million versus losing your freedom for the next 20 or 30 years. He loses the $10 million.
You think they would let him flee? You'd think he would get out? He can get out of the country now if he wanted.
I mean, he'd have to get on a private jet. It wouldn't be, and then he'd have to take some hops. So it'd be hard for him. But if he could get into
Mexico,
or Mexico has a extradition treaty, he'd have to. Japan doesn't have an extradition treaty with us.
That's weird. I mean, since we have our military's occupying their country, you think they would?
Yeah, that one's a weird one that surprises me. There's a few other some Asian countries that don't that we're kind of friends with though. It's kind of weird, but and then I forget. There's a few in Europe, the few of the old Soviet countries, former Soviet Union countries, don't have extradition
laws.
Yeah, so if I think Ukraine is actually one of them. Let me see. Is Ukraine an extradition?
So do you think he's flipping on Trump?
Who?
Flynn.
I honestly don't think there's nothing to flip. So they haven't brought anything to light, and if they had it, they would have brought it already.
I think they can't do that. I think they're still interviewing people right now. And then Flynn is definitely key to those interviews now because they need to put up what he says versus what they say. So, I mean, they can't lie now. And if they have lied already, then they're going to get hit again. But I think Kushner is definitely is one to look out for as far as an indictment. Because he's been kind of sloppy. I mean, he's lied on his clearance forms. He's he's forgotten things when sending stuff over to the intel committees. He's just been really uncareful.
Something what's his name says to what do you call it? Something Ben Shapiro says all the time is like, don't attribute anything to I won't attribute anything to coercion that I could attribute to stupidity. And he's this administration, most likely it's the stupidity because that's going to be
just stupid.
Well, that's just going to be the easiest answer. Like
that gives you a lot of confidence in the administration.
Well, yeah, it's like, but that he's like usually like if you look at it, the easiest answer is the most obvious, or the usually the one.
I don't buy that. I don't
like
buy that.
They don't know what they're doing a lot of times with some of this stuff, and so
I don't buy that at all.
And it's not well. He's not saying that that's exactly that, but he's like until I see proof, I err on that. Most likely this is.
But we're seeing the proof now. Like the proof is coming out. I mean, it just.
There's been no proof right now. All he did was lie to the FBI about meeting with somebody.
But they've had like 19 contacts with like Russians throughout the campaign.
Which is not illegal, not out of the ordinary, though.
I know, but they lied about it. Why would they lie about it? If it's not illegal, why would you lie about it?
I don't know. But if they knew those,
I don't know. Maybe it's because they did something illegal that they don't want anybody to find out.
I mean, if they knew those conversations existed already and knew something was illegal on them, we would have known by now.
I think Mueller hasn't had the smoking. I think he has the smoking gun. He just hasn't revealed it yet.
I think he wants to draw this out as long as possible because he doesn't actually have anything. I think we would have already gotten into it had.
Is that your bet? You want to bet on this?
I mean, yeah, that's my bet. What do you want to bet?
A gentlemanly wager of $1.
A gentlemanly wager of $1.
That
we could do a brass ring. What do you call it?
A pitcher. Yeah. Well, I mean, what's the bet though? That Trump gets cut? No, I mean, I don't.
Like, what do you think is going to end here? Because like my bet is that there really is nothing. That we are going to go through this entire process over the next like 18 months, and at the end of this, we're going to have just as much information we have today as we have then.
I don't think so. I think it's just weird that Trump is kind of more friendly than other politicians with Russia.
Well, like friendly, like what's this?
Let's take the sanctions away. Let's think about taking the sanctions away from Russia. Russia's our friend. That kind of stuff. Russia's not our fucking friend.
Well, I mean, Obama and Hillary Clinton sold uranium to them.
I don't even know if that was like, isn't that like fake news? Wasn't that a fake news story?
No, that's absolutely true. They sold a portion of uranium-1 to Russia. They own 18% of uranium-1, or no, not 18. It's like 30-something% of uranium.
That's more than I heard, but
maybe
I heard it was a as you
company.
You guys say a nothing burger.
That company made contributions to the Hillary Clinton Foundation, or the Clinton Foundation, which still collapsed and disappeared a week after the election, which I find that weird for a charity.
Yeah.
Where you got a lot of money from other foreign governments filtering into there, but a charity that ends after she can't be president anymore. Anyway,
even though she did that, does it make it right for other people to do it?
What I'm saying is that you make it out like Trump is all of a sudden jolly with them, whereas they actually did stuff with them. So let's wait till there's proof that Trump actually did something. Because I think
it's coming out that he's actually jolly with them. or at least they played him. They play like he was a patsy in their plan.
But that means he's jolly just as much as Hillary Clinton was, and you're getting the exact same thing. So you can't really point the finger saying he's more jolly than jolly, which were really weird that we're using this term. But more
you're
friendly.
Using jolly. I didn't start this jolly nonsense. I don't even know where you got that term from.
Where we got that? I don't know where
does that come from? Jolly.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I've heard in conversations like describing like, oh, we're gonna be jolly together, like we're gonna be happy. Anyway, fuck that.
Jesus Christ! Is it because of Christmas? Is that what's going on? Have a holly jolly Christmas.
I don't know. It's just to say that he is more friendly to Russia than Hillary Clinton or Obama was.
It's not good for either of them to do it. I'm not saying just because.
Not good, but you're making it out as if he is solely being that way, and so we've had no actual proof of that. Where we've had proof in the past of the other two, of Hillary Clinton and Obama. So the Obama administration in general. I mean, there was a time when Obama thought the mic was off, and he was colluding with Russia to reduce our nuclear arsenal. The idea,
like that's such an ominous thing, is to reduce our nuclear arsenal, man.
But why couldn't he say that?
What a bad guy.
But why couldn't he say that on air? Why did he have to frame it as this is my last election? And so
that's the way politics works. And it wasn't his last election. I mean, he was still president though. That's the only difference between what happened then and then what happened with the Trump transition, is he was actually gonna be president again.
Which makes it worse.
No, it doesn't. I mean, like nuclear proliferation was ostensibly a good thing. I mean, to reduce the amount of nuclear weapons on the planet was a good thing.
I just don't understand why he couldn't be public about it, though. Why is he whispering to?
I don't see it as that ominous of a thing to get rid of, to reduce our nuclear arsenal. I just think the level of transgression is not the same as what Trump is doing.
Well, what about selling part of our uranium to them?
I have to look into that more because I can't speak to all the facts in that.
So, I mean, if
I've heard it, but I've also heard on the other side that it was a false story.
Well, I mean, they said that about Benghazi too. I mean, every time.
Yeah, we all saw that movie. Then I don't. That was funny because the guy that asked for security, what was his name? Chris Stevens.
What do you mean?
I think Chris
Stevens was the ambassador.
I think the State Department actually asked for more money for funding for having more personnel over there, but Congress denied it.
That's not the problem of what happened there.
It is they didn't have the proper security to protect the personnel over there.
We never actually did anything about it once they got attacked.
But I mean, like once they rushed, they didn't have enough people to defend it. That was the whole thing. Is like there just weren't enough bodies with guns to shoot at the bad guys.
Need help, and no one picked up the phone.
But I'm saying the Congress could have funded. They could have had more personnel over there at the time.
They had the funding. That's the real issue here. Is the State Department should not have sent him there during that time to a temporary outpost if they didn't have the security.
But I think the guy insisted, though. I think Chris Stevens insisted that he go over there.
And if he insisted, that means Hillary Clinton approved it, because his boss was Hillary Clinton as as the Secretary of State, and him being an ambassador. His boss is Hillary Clinton.
I don't see. I mean, I see both sides are at fault in that scenario, in my opinion. But I don't see that as Benghazi compared to selling our country out to the Russians is the same thing. Like they did when they sold the uranium. That's what I'm saying. I have to look into the uranium thing. I mean, you're speaking like it's like 100% true, but I doubt there's got to be something in the middle there. The lying about Benghazi is also the part of it, to where they were saying, "Oh, it's just about a tape. It's not what it was." And the Republicans never covered anything up. That makes it okay? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying why there's levels to what Trump is doing, and then there's a level to what Hillary Clinton has done. I just think they're two different degrees of what problem. You're assuming Trump did. What you're assuming Trump did something. Yeah. I mean, his buddies are getting picked off left and right by the FBI, and he hasn't done anything wrong. Well, but they haven't been picked off for the reason that you're saying. So I mean, so what happens when they do get picked off? Which I guess is our bet. Is there's gonna what is the bet? There's gonna be. Let's get back to the bet. Is because I want my free beer. What do you think is that? Because it's probably gonna be a while before this actually happens. But what do you think that actually is going to outcome of this? Do you see an impeachment? At what point do you say that's a win? I'm going with full obstruction of justice. I'm saying at least he's going to get. Mueller's going to find obstruction of justice against Trump. Whether or not that brings articles of impeachment, I don't know.
So he'll be impeached.
I don't think he'll be impeached, but I know
he can't charge him with that without going through the process, though.
But I'm saying the council will find that Trump committed obstruction of justice. That's what I'm going with. That's our bet.
That all he did was commit obstruction of justice. So nothing with Russia, essentially.
Well, I mean, the collusion's not illegal. The hiding of it is. That's the thing. Is like it's not illegal to do what what was it? It's not the crime that'll get you. It's the cover up. That's probably not the right one. But I don't think he did anything personal. So you don't think he actually colluded with Russia? I don't think. Well, no, I do think he colluded with Russia, but it's not illegal to collude with Russia. It's just it's just bad practice. It's malpractice, but it's not illegal. Like it's the problem that they're getting them on is lying about it, but that also begs the question of what are they covering up if they have to lie about it.
So I won't take that back because I would say they need to actually bring charges forward to him. For him to just end his investigation and say Trump's a bad guy.
No, I mean like obstruction of justice is illegal. Obstruction of justice is illegal.
But for me to say that like you win, he would need to be tried for it. Just to say that though, it's stupid. Just to be like, yeah, he did something bad. I mean, basically, it's the Hillary.
Well, Clinton. He did something illegal. I mean, he did pretty much what Nixon did. If he gets obstruction of justice,
did with the email things, it's like, was this illegal? Yes. Was this illegal? Yes. Did she do this? Yes. Did that happen? Yes. Will she be prosecuted? No. It's like we just went over 5 things that were illegal, and you're not going to prosecute her. So basically, we need to get to that scenario. Essentially, what you're saying is, here's the thing that Trump did illegally. We're not going to prosecute it, just like we did with Hillary Clinton.
I think that's what I mean. I'm pretty sure that's like the safe bet. I'll go wild. Well, Trump gets impeached. I'll do it. We'll bet a pitcher of beer at Brass Ring. Trump gets impeached. I
don't even say impeachment. I say that charges have to be brought against him.
So even impeachment, like you're saying, like even impeachment, like won't count.
No. If he gets impeached, yeah, I win. Whatever.
You win. Oh, who's winning? Is Charlie Sheen winning still?
What are you talking about? He told you get tired of winning.
Yeah, that 30% of the country really came through for him.
I'll accept if they file against him.
If they file charges against him.
If Mueller at the end of this investigation actually files charges against him, then it goes to.
Can you file? That's the whole question though. Is like, can he directly file charges against him?
I think
like he has to get impeached first, and then they can file the charges.
No, I think it's the other way around. I feel like you have to file charges, and then the Congress and stuff decides on it, and then impeaches the president for doing something bad.
But what's wild is like Republicans impeached Bill Clinton for lying about getting his dick sucked. So it's like this has got to be worse. It's more. Well, I mean, it's like
it's not like he was just like trying to hide it from his wife.
Yeah.
He was under oath and said, "No, I did not have sexual relations." And then like a little bit later, he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, she was on the end of my dick."
But he just got his dick sucked. Like it wasn't like there's like 2 different things of like.
But he could have just
helping Vladimir Putin take over America internally versus getting your dick sucked by an intern.
But at the end of the day, they're both lying about it, and the other thing are the same.
That's crazy. Like the degrees of like the crime are like completely different. One is way worse than the other one.
Gives you makes you impeachable. Doing a crime makes you impeachable. So the idea that, whether you lied under oath, which seems like a really small thing, given he was just getting a blowjob, I agree with you. But at the end of the day, it's still the law that you don't lie under oath. That's the same law for me and you in a court of law. When he's in front of Congress testifying under oath, he is under oath and has the same validity or same thing as us testifying in a court of jury or a court of law under oath. And so whether it's stupid or not, he still did it. And he was impeached because he lied under oath.
Yeah, I'm just saying if they don't impeach Trump, it's a failure of their duty.
Well, we got to find something first.
I think the tweeting should be grounds for impeachment. It's ridiculous. Did you see almost got like his lawyer almost got him caught up with the FBI because of how he tweeted something out. Allegedly, his lawyer phrased something about like Mike Flynn lied to the vice president and the FBI, which is why we had to fire him. And I was like, oh, so you knew he lied to the FBI?
Wait a minute. Privilege. That's actually really, really funny.
Anyways, so let's go on to let's go to Matt Lauer real quick, and then we'll go to the TV show Orville, because we don't have we have a good conversation going on, so we don't have a lot of time left.
All right.
Yeah. So Matt Lauer got fired from NBC this week. Was it this week?
Yeah, it was this week. It was like early.
Dude, that's crazy how fast time flies these days. We have these articles up here, and I'm like, there's no way this happened like a week ago.
Are you talking about
between the bike rides?
Oh man, is that you or is that me?
Shit, sorry.
Okay,
That was. Did you hear that?
Well, yeah, that got into the recording. It's no big deal. I don't even know what it was. It sounded like some Japanese
Sorry, I opened up
tampon
a
commercial.
Open up a web. Stupid auto play video.
Yeah, those things will get you every time.
That technology. Okay, sorry, that was me.
Anyways, he got fired for sexual impropriety. Like pretty much everybody in Hollywood, or I guess all the politicians are staying in. All of those guys are locked in. They're like, we're not going fucking anywhere.
I'm like, fuck you.
You're gonna have to take me out in my fucking cold dead hands.
I feel some of the big names are getting let go. So like Matt Lauer, he makes a shit ton of money. He makes like $20 million a year. Or
He had a
something
$20 million contract. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they just wanted to get rid of him. And this
You think
was
so?
Everything's going on right now because he's been doing this for years. He's been grabbing her ass for years or something like that. And I feel like they're like, all right, all of them are going on right now, and we can look good by saying Matt Lauer's doing some shit. We got to get rid of him. But I think the same with O'Reilly and a lot of these other ones where it's like these people that have been in media for so long are making a shit ton of money, and they want an excuse to get rid of them because, the media companies need to adjust to this new era of media, and they can't.
They came from an old era of where they were owed that money, but now it's like different.
Right, and they can't do it with these huge budgets holding back these shows. I think they want to do other stuff with some of these shows, and with a Matt Lauer, you can't really negotiate his contract much. Whereas like some of the new people, they're like, yeah, sure, let's do web, let's do the, they're into doing that stuff and aren't like getting as much money yet.
That's funny because like they think they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get Matt Lauer's job and I'm gonna get the same contract. So it's like it's gonna go back to that equal pay fight all over again. I feel like that's what's how you're saying it. Yeah, that's like a setup for. They're trying to get cheaper wages, so they're gonna start. It's just gonna be more women and minorities on TV, is what you're saying.
Not necessarily. You could bring in a white guy and pay him less because he hasn't been on air that long. Matt Lauer's been on air for like 20 fucking years, 25 years. Same with O'Reilly. He's been on air since I think before I've been born. So, yeah. I mean, they make a lot of money because...
We'll do it live!
Fuck it, we'll do it live! So I think this is just like an excuse to clear house.
I was just wondering, I was thinking like we need to set up like a network for these guys that like have left under disgrace or like sexual harassment.
O'Reilly does his own podcast from his house now.
And we need to have like the Creeps Network. all the it's funny. I mean, after like a few years, people forget this stuff even happened.
Yeah, that's true.
You know who Marv Albert is?
Nope.
Yeah, he had a weird sex scandal back in like the 90s or something like that, and he's back on TV. And people forgot about that.
Yeah, I always thought Matt Lauer was gay. So
man, was it? Were you like surprised?
Yeah, that he was like
impressed. Was it like you were impressed?
I was kind of impressed. Actually, I thought he was gay. Like he's married and shit.
Yeah, he's married. He's got 3 kids.
Yeah, but I always thought he was like gay because like every Halloween.
I mean, like he did some he raped a girl in his office.
Really?
Yeah, like in one of the stories, it sounded like he raped a girl.
Holy sh! Okay, I didn't hear that part. I thought he was just grabbing what's her name's ass.
No, you said the girl said she like pulled her pants down and then like she blacked out, and then when she woke up, he had his assistant take her to the nurse. I don't know. God knows why. Maybe he roughed her up like a good amount. I don't know. He sounded like fucking King Joffrey a little bit. Somebody said he had like a button in his office to lock the door. I don't know if you. And then there's another story of him buying a female coworker, a dildo, and like he had like a note in there that said like I want to use this on you. So like yeah, he was going pretty wild.
And see, a lot of these guys, I don't understand it because like they have money and they have like fame and stuff like that. They can fuck any woman they want.
It's weird. Yeah, the Russell Simmons one is even weirder too. Have you heard of Russell Simmons?
No, like I heard that it happened, but I didn't hear the details of it.
Yeah, he was like he's stepping down from his companies as a result of the last 3. I think it was like 3 sexual allegations against him. The one he like had sex with a girl. He kind of like pressured her into doing it. It doesn't sound like he like. It was weird. It's like it was between like a half rape and a half like guilt. Like what do they call it? A mercy fuck.
Wow.
So like I mean the woman said like he told the driver not to take her home. Then they went to his apartment. All this time she's not like fighting or anything. She's just saying like wait, or like she said the word wait or something like that, and he just like pushed her in the bedroom. Then like they got naked, and then she said from that moment on I did what I was told, and I was like okay, I don't know, that's like a weird. I'm not a woman, so I don't know her thought. She said she was trying to please him and make him not go berserk or something like that. So I don't know, I just can't think from that perspective, obviously, but
yeah,
because anybody forces me in a room, I'm knocking them out.
You're fighting all the way out.
I'm stabbing. I'm going down stabbing. Anyways, yeah, it's not funny, but I say that, but yeah, there's like I don't know. When I read her description, I was like, man, guys and girls are gonna read this completely differently. Yeah,
that's true, because guys don't understand that concept of like I was just doing what I was told. Well, I mean.
Or like it's like you usually get the girl drunk, or like there's some coercion involved in sex, like to begin with. You buy a girl a gift, all right. She's like you know what I mean though, but it's like you're doing it to get something out of it.
Here's a car, will you fuck me?
Yeah, it's like guys don't do it out of the kindness of their heart. They it's like maybe one day they will, but it doesn't work that way these days.
I told a friend, and she told her 16-year-old daughter this after I told her. I was like, it's from a Chris Rock bit about like women being able to fuck whenever they want to, whereas guys have to work at it.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you don't know what it's like. He's like, ever since you were 16, every man you met's been trying to fuck you. Like, it's not like that for guys. And so I said that to her, and she actually told her like 16-year-old daughter and her friend that. She's like, you do realize like every guy you meet just wants to get in your pants and will tell you whatever, which is like, especially at your age.
So, like, yeah, it's like, it's weird because girls start that way. I mean, like every girl I meet, I don't want to have sex with. It's like only certain ones. I think that's part of the problem is like every guy wants to have sex with you. They think every guy wants to have sex with you. There's some girls where I'm just like, I don't want to have sex with you. You're not the one.
But like a generally like attractive woman, you would probably want to, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah. I mean, if they said like, yeah, let's fuck.
Especially attractive.
Well, it depends too. Like it's like some people, some women that certain people find attractive. I don't. It's like not every guy thinks the same thing. There's certain guys that will want to fuck like everything, but not every guy wants to fuck everything.
Right, and I fall in that same category as well. Like it's not every woman I like. I mean, there's some guys out there that'll fuck anything with a
That's
pulse.
like a superpower, in my opinion.
What?
If you can fuck like any woman that you see, that's a second superpower, dude. I wish I could do that.
Basically, you just turn it on whenever you want. Just
exactly. Like it just doesn't work that way all the time.
No,
like, yeah, you're really not doing it for me.
You want to watch some TV?
All right, so let's talk about this TV show Orville, and then we'll go into the movie.
All right. So, did we talk about this before or not?
No, you just put it in there. I looked it up. It's the Seth MacFarlane show of him him in space.
So, a friend at work has been trying to get me to watch this show, and so I was like, "Yeah, over the holiday weekend, I'll watch it. I'll be sitting at my mom's house. I'll have nothing to do, and so I'll download a bunch of them and watch them." I absolutely love this show. This is one of the best shows that I've watched in a long time. The premise is. It's like a Star Trek but comedy. It's a hour-long show, which I thought it was a 30-minute show.
Wow,
so
an hour long.
I was really avoiding like watching it because I hate sitcom, I hate the 30-minute format. But this is very reminiscent of the old Star Trek, the Next Gen, the Voyagers, the Deep Space Nine, the character development, how everything looks.
It's like lighter material.
it's a little bit lighter, but it's also, and they don't get deep into it because it's more of a drama comedy, that they don't get too deep into like the scientific stuff. You know, they'll be like, well, we can do this with a deflector wave, we can get out of the cloud. You know, they'll say some of that stuff, but not how like Star Trek did it. One of the executive producers was executive producer of, you know, Next Gen, Voyager, all the other stuff. So I mean, and there's a few other EPs on there that are all former, you know, Next Gen era Star Trek producers, and so it has a lot of that feel. Even like the font on the opening and the credits is the Voyager font. So it's really cool. The characters are great. I wouldn't watch it after we talked about it today. Give it a try. I can give you a couple episodes, but it's not too Trekky, but it's Trekky enough that I absolutely love that aspect of it.
Well,
but
it had Seth MacFarlane in it. I mean, I'll give anything he's done a shot.
He's really funny. The opening sequence is really funny. The only thing I don't like about it is actually him. I don't like.
You don't like Seth MacFarlane?
Okay, well, hold on. Let me explain. As a voice actor, as a writer, I love him. I think he's hilarious. Yeah. In this, and I'm hoping he gets better because I don't think he's had a lot of on screen, like just him. Like, you know, Ted was his voice.
Family Guy. Did we watch A Thousand Ways to Die in the West? Was that mean? Did you see that together?
I didn't see that, but yeah, that was another one he was in.
Oh man, you're sounding robot-y.
What?
Okay, now keep going. It was like you sounded robot-y for a second.
Oh, sorry. So I haven't seen him on screen that much, and I don't think he has like the facial expressions enough yet. Whereas, you know, he's not bad, but he's not like super good. And so the only thing I don't like about it is I feel like he needs to develop a little bit more facial and I think that he'll grow into it. You know, I just don't think he's had a lot of in front of the camera. He's mostly been writing and doing voice acting.
Yeah. I'll check it out, definitely. I had been seeing it. Where does it come on? Is it Fox?
It's on Fox if you want to DVR it.
But an hour long is crazy.
Well, it's 45 minutes. It's an hour with commercials.
Yeah, that's still too long. By the way, I get a free DVR with my service over here, which is kind of cool. I'm taking them up on that.
Do you get the on demand too?
I don't know. I think I do. I know I get HBO and Stars. I don't know. I think the HBO comes with on demand. But you're talking about on demand for what? Just anything?
Yeah, all the shows and everything.
I gotta look into that. I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah, DirecTV. Like you could just go back and watch anything. Like.
Yeah. But anyways, let's get into the movie. Our movie for the week. Traffic.
So this is the first time seeing it. So what'd you think?
Like I said, there's really depressing parts of it. It's really like fucked up movie. Like especially like a Catherine Zeta-Jones in it. Like how she turns kind of at the end. Like you think she's like this nice like, you know, housewife, and then she's like this cold-blooded killer. Yeah,
you like how she's like she just joins in.
Yeah, like I think she knew though. It seems like when she was talking to her husband and when they're in jail, she knew like they had come from that life together. You know what I mean?
Well, she also says in there, it was like I won't bring my children up in the life I had. So at some point, I don't think she gives a shit.
That's the thing I meant. But yeah, she knew how that world worked essentially.
Yeah, and I think. I don't know. I think Catherine Zeta-Jones is really hot in this film.
Oh, of course, dude. There's scenes in there. I was like, wow. Yeah. Like Michael Douglas scored a good one.
Yeah.
He bagged a good one.
And he was old as fuck in this film. And this film.
Yeah. And he's like fucking 81 now.
I don't think he's that old, but I think he's
so. I think we do this every time. It's like, how old is Michael Douglas? He's got to be.
We do this every time. You make it sound like we end up on.
I think his age is like one of our like greatest debates. Like we always debate. Oh, okay, he's 73, so he's like 8 years away from that.
Because his father is still alive. I think he's in his 90s.
Yeah, his dad is like Kirk Douglas, right?
Yeah, he's a big actor too.
Yeah, that was like just the movie, and yeah, there was just fucked up parts of that movie. Like I guess I would. Oh, he's 100. His dad is 100.
Wow, I didn't know he was that old. I thought he was in his 90s.
Holy bananas!
That's crazy. All three of them did a movie. Michael Douglas's son, his father, and his grandfather did a movie like 10 years ago, 10 or 15 years ago, I think. It was like kind of a slash comedy drama. Everything, it was about family and stuff like that. But all three of them did a movie together.
The family. Yeah. So this movie came out in 2000. I actually thought it was Crash. Like Like this movie seems very similar, not similar to Crash, but I think Don Cheadle was in both of those, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Like
he
Don Cheadle was in Crash. Don Cheadle's amazing in this movie. I love Don Cheadle and Luis Guzman's like characters.
Yeah, this was my first introduction to both of those actors.
Oh, really? I think Basher was the first time I saw Don Cheadle from Oceans.
Yeah, well, Oceans came out in 2001, so this is the first time I saw him. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're very good in this.
Yeah, and then so like the story is pretty much what, like a judge. Michael Douglas plays a judge. He goes to work for the drug czar in the White House.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of stuff going on in this. I thought eventually that he would cross paths with Catherine Zeta-Jones's story, but they didn't. It was like completely two different storylines together.
Yeah, but it's like that six.
But it's kind of like centered around drugs and Mexican drug cartels.
This was also my first introduction of Benicio del Toro, which I think
Benicio del Toro. Yeah, I didn't realize. Well, I say realize. I guess he's Spanish. I've never seen him speak Spanish before.
Really?
No. Have you? And then anything else besides this?
I feel there was one other film that he played. I can never pronounce it. Scario, I think it is, or something like that. He was just in a film recently.
Uh-huh.
And it was actually, the film's a little slow, and like so if you know anything about the CIA, which I'm not going to give the spoiler out, but if you know anything about the CIA, like they build up this whole thing of like why these other two characters are there the whole time, and they're not like, and they're trying to make it a big deal, and then they do a reveal at the end, and if you know this portion, which if I already know this about the CIA, it's like, well, yeah, big deal. Obviously, that's why they're there. You know, like it was just, so that's the only thing about it. The car scene when they're in the line to come back into the United States is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And I absolutely love that. I watched that movie just for that scene.
What scene is that? What are you talking about?
So, did you see this movie? No, I'm not talking about Traffic. I'm talking about the other.
Okay. Yeah. No. No.
I'm talking about the other film. So there's a scene where they like shoot their way back over the border, and just the tension and everything involved with it, and all the SUVs, and how, like, it's just a really cool scene. The whole section of the film. It's probably like a 10-minute section of the film, but it's really cool. The rest of the film it's good, but it's a little slow and boring. And if you know that thing about the CIA, then you're kind of like at the end, you're like, that's not really a reveal because that's common knowledge if you know anything about Go ahead. No, go ahead.
This was like this movie also begged the question of what the fuck happened to Topher Grace.
Who?
The kid who got the girl introduced into like freebasing. And the guy that was in Ocean's 11. That was Rusty was teaching him how to play cards. That's Topher Grace.
Oh, it is, isn't it? Yeah, I was trying to figure out where I had seen him. Yeah, he's in the beginning of that, isn't he? And
he was in that 70s show. I think that's probably like, this is why he left the show, is to be like a movie star, and then like he just fell off the face of the fucking earth. Actually, he was in that Spider-Man movie as Venom, right?
Which Spider-Man movie?
I can't remember. Was it 3?
Maguire?
Was it 3?
I did not watch the Tobey Maguire ones. I hated those.
I like the first one.
The first one was okay. But I didn't like that at all. He was too old to play the character, in my opinion, and so was what's her name? They were both like too old to play the character. He was supposed to be
like a college kid, right? Like a freshman in college or something like that.
Supposed to be a high schooler. Like
I thought like he went to college though in the last two. I think he like graduated college in the first one, right? And then
right, it's too old to play the high schooler to begin with when they did it.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. But that's how they've been doing that for years. Who made that joke? Somebody made that joke about like the high schoolers being like 30 years old, like when I forget, it was in a show or something like that. That used to be a big kind of just joke around around Hollywood.
Yeah, it's always been like that because like 90210 and like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, they were in high school but they're all in their 30s and stuff. But what I'm saying is like they never really like sold it, whereas like others sell it with like costume design and stuff like that. Like the new ones where they had Emma Stone like they sold her being in high school with the hair design and what she was wearing and how she acted and stuff like that. Like I just don't feel like those two ever sold it.
Right.
I don't know. That's my rant though.
Topher Grace has like 5 movies coming out next year.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know who that guy was. Like it's shocking
Really?
to know his name. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in that 70s show. I watched that 70s show a lot when I was younger.
So.
Yeah. I was really into that show. Yeah, I had a friend that he got into it like maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. And like the show had been on like already a decade. And he was like, he's like, oh man, you watched that 70s show? I was like, yeah, like 10 years ago. He's like quoting that 70s show. I'm like, yeah, like in high school, maybe I could have like done this, but like not now. Like this is weird.
When I talk about the West Wing, that ended in like forever ago. Tom, stop talking.
I always talk about Arrested Development too. So I mean, but no, I mean, like getting into it, you didn't get into the West Wing like after it came out, did you?
Absolutely.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh yeah, it was way over by the time I ever started watching it. I mean, it wasn't like that far. I think I watched it the first time in 2007, and I think it ended in 2000. No, I think I watched it in 2008, and it ended.
Well, yeah, you're just like sometimes you're just too young to even get in a show like Seinfeld. Seinfeld, I got into later. Like obviously, that came out in the 90s.
Right. Yeah, you were way too young to like get that humor at the time.
Yeah.
There are some shows that I've gone back and like gotten into. There's a few like I've been meaning to do just for like pop culture references. Like Friends is one like I've been meaning to like go and watch.
You need to watch Family Guy.
I can't do Family Guy.
Friends sucks. I hate Friends.
Is it that really fun?
No, you might like it. I'm just like I get into shows. I used to get into shows and like watch them all the way through and then just be like, yeah, I'm done with this. I'm never watching it again. So like I did that with pretty much all of those like shows like Family Matters, Full House.
What, you went back and watched all those?
No, I watched them when I was younger. Like they had the reruns on.
Yeah, so okay, so did I.
You know, like they had like this wave of, you know, like older shows that came back that they put on and I watched them and I just, you know, I just never watched them again. Like, you know, I just don't watch those shows anymore.
You know, when I watched when I was like a little kid was MacGyver and Knight Rider when I got home from school.
Nah, yeah, I never got into those.
They were on, for some odd reason, they were on every afternoon. There was like 2 episodes each or something. I think they were only half an hour, or were they an hour? I don't know, but there was each one was on, and so like when I got home from school, I'd always watch those. I was like in 2nd or 3rd grade or something like that.
I never really got into MacGyver. I don't know why. I think maybe it was like the timing too. It was never on TV when I watched it, or when I was watching TV. I was more into like kid stuff anyway. Like MacGyver and what's the other one you said?
Rider.
Yeah, those are like adult shows, weren't they?
Yeah,
I mean they could be like a kid. They could be like kid themed, but like still.
I was never
more weird. You're never into kid stuff.
Like some of it, but like I was never into like just random cartoons, or I was like I've never been like a cartoon person. So there was like a few that I watched. So I was like a lot of times when I watched stuff like when I was a little kid, I'd like watch live action stuff. So you know, like Knight Rider and MacGyver were done in like the 70s, I think, and like you couldn't even show a couple sleeping in the same bed at the time. So
yeah,
so it's like all kid safe anyway.
I used to watch. I mean, my dad got us really into like old sitcoms too, like the Nick at Night stuff, like Lucy, I Love Lucy, and Welcome Back, Kotter, and I'll still watch those shows though. Those shows actually really hold up really well. Like Bewitched, I used to watch. I used to watch a Dick Van Dyke show. I like where they just, I guess before we end, there's a funny Family Guy thing where like the FCC comes in and they start censoring everything and they say like, now welcome to the stage blank Van blank. So
I think also why you think they hold up too is a lot of like storytelling for like sitcoms and stuff were pioneered in those shows.
Yeah,
and, like they did it for the first time in a lot of those shows.
Well, and they were really good actors too. Like to get a show, you had to be like fucking on top of your game.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't just give shows to anybody back then.
The Netflix era, they'll just hand out
I like how Bill Burr's always talking about how they just give everybody an hour special. It's like, you know what you had to do to get an hour special? You might never ever get an hour special like back in the day.
Yeah, I think I've heard him talk about that too.
Yeah. So, anyways, I guess that about wraps it up.
All right.
Yeah. I think we're getting the format down for the thing.
For the thing.
for the movie thing. So, cool. This has been Choice.
This is Tom.
And this was the Applesauce Podcast. I got it right that time. All right. See you guys next time.
Later.
Bye.